Hey everyone, it's Malini from My Little Pink Craft Kitchen, and today I am participating in a challenge for W plus 9. It's the Get Sketchy with Joni challenge, and I love Joni's work. I've seen her work on Instagram, and I've always liked her cards, and I was like, I want to join this challenge, so that's why I did. I'm gonna be making my own background using some W plus 9 flower stamps. So I started out with Nina Solar White, and I cut it to a top folding card, standard size top folding card. And to that, I'm going to be masking the top so that I don't get anything on the back side of the card. And here you can see I'm starting to make my background. For the first flower, I used the circle base and I used this rose-like top layer using butter bar for the base and now orange soda for the top layer. And I just kind of scattered it around the card, and then I'm going to use the same circle base but now using cotton candy ink from Simon Says Stamp, and then to that I'm going to be using the spiral circle top layer using some ultra pink ink from Hero Arts. For the third flower that I'm going to be using, I'm going to use the sunflower like shape that's included in the set using some cornflower blue. Now this is a smaller stamp compared to the first one I used, so I was able to really go more and around the card and fill in more of the gaps. For the top layer of this stamp, I'm using butter bar ink on top of the blue, and it gave this really nice green, yellow green color on top. For this next flower, I'm using fresh peach ink, and I'm just going to be using this mostly on the sides to go off of the edge of the paper to make it look more like patterned paper. And then I'm going to be topping it off with some Kappa Joe ink for the centers of those flowers. This is a really nice stamp set because I like the blank canvas it gives. I like these build your own sets, and you can just choose whatever color you want and whatever position you want. And so I really like that idea in a stamp set. Now for this last one, I felt like I needed to put a little bit more in the spaces, and I wanted to do a small flower. So I did it with some surf blue ink from Simon Says Stamp. And it seems in the video that you can't really see the blue, but in real life it really comes through. And because I used some Audrey blue for the centers of those flowers, it really pops up. And it just gives it that subtle color with a pop of color, and it really, really looks nice in person. Now I felt like I still needed some more, and those clusters were too big already to fit in the other small spaces. So I saw this leaf vine, and I used Green Hills ink from Hero Arts, and I just used one color, and I just, stamped it on the areas where I thought it needed more filling. Now when I finished stamping all of my images, I removed the masking tape on the top, and it's perfect on the one side because there's no ink. Now I'm gonna do and work on the panel that's gonna go in front. And if you remember the sketch, it had this curved tag. So I'm gonna be using the Stitch Duo 3 from Pretty Pink Posh, and I'm gonna cut that out of vellum. And while I have my cuddle bug out, I'm also gonna cut some of the more fresh cuts and stamp and cut them out of Nina Solar White, and then stamp them with the different colors later on. So you can see here I have the flowers, and I die cut all of it, and I'm gonna stamp all of it, but I'm not gonna use all of it. So I'm just gonna use similar colors. As you can see there, I've used similar colors. Now for here, this is for the sentiment. I'm gonna be using the sentiment also found in the set. You can see here I used gray cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, but just to give you a heads up, when you see the finished product, I didn't like the gray cardstock, so I changed it to candy pink cardstock from Basil. It's called Candy Hearts, and that's kind of what I changed it to. So you're going to see that in the finished product. And I did the same thing. I stamped it on Versamark, and I heat embossed it with American Crafts white embossing powder. So you're going to see that at the end. Now for the vellum panel, I really wanted to just put it on top so you can get the subtle color from behind the vellum. And then I wanted to put some of the flowers on the actual vellum panel. If you look at the sketch, there's that circle image that's kind of like the focal image of the sketch. And so instead of putting it on the center, I kind of made it a little bit off center and just made that the focal point of the tag. And so now I'm using some Elmer's tape adhesive. I normally use my Tombow, but I ran out of it, and this Elmer's is pretty amazing. I love Elmer's a lot, and I like it because I don't have to order it online. I get it from my local grocery store, and they have the refills there, and it's perfect. So I got a few, and I'm good to go for the next few months. So as you can see, I'm just putting it in, and I decided, I was thinking if I wanted to do some layer, some dimension, you know, with foam adhesive, and I was like, no, it's okay. I can just use some tape and just make it all flat. Besides, I used foam tape to adhere the banner where I stamped my sentiment, which you can see now is gray, but like I said later on, you're gonna see that it becomes pink. You can also use fun foam. I've seen like Jennifer Maguire, Laura Basson, and Christina Werner, and a lot of these really amazing card makers use fun foam. I prefer foam tape, even for shaker cards. If it's a square, I find foam tape is also good. I think if it's a random shape, I would use fun foam, but for circles and for squares, I think the foam tape is okay with me. So you can see here, I'm trying to center the vellum panel on the card, and it just gives that subtle color through the vellum from behind, which is the background. Now, I wanted to also use some sequins from Pretty Pink Posh, and these sparkling clear sequins are my favorite colors from Pretty Pink Posh. And normally I would use sparkling clear with other colors, but because this card has so much color, I just decided to use sparkling clear, give it more of an elegant look, a classic look, and just, you know, let those ink colors speak for itself and just highlight it with the sparkling clear sequins. I also decided to use some Wink of Stella on the flowers from on the vellum panel. I didn't do the whole flower, I just did the centers, the different color ones. So for the blue one, I did the yellow centers. For the fresh peach, I did the brown, and for those yellow flowers, I just did the orange top layer. Also for the leaves, I just did the darker colors. So that's the card for today. As you can see, the gray panel now becomes pink because I thought it looked better than the gray. So that's it for this card. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon for my next video. Bye!